What's cracking, investors? It's Sunday, so you know what that means. I'm doing a video on a company, and today's company is PayPal. It's been in the news. Everybody's talking about it. I'm going to take a look at some charts, going to take a look at some numbers, some news, some of the criticisms, and then see if I can extrapolate a decision on whether I think this company is a buy or sell. So I'm going to be using stockanalysis.com. And first of all, what I want to know before I even start on this is that this company is back at like 2017 valuations. So it's kind of crazy. This is not taking into account the share count. So I haven't looked at that yet. I will do it so in a second. But before we go into all that, what I like to do here is just quickly glance at the trends of revenue and earnings for a company. So it looks like this company's been growing their revenue, their top line really well and steady, like a growth company basically. In fact, it looks like it's a little bit accelerating. It's going to be interesting to see what the 2022 number looks like, but I really like that growth. I don't know how they're able to achieve it. They've been doing some acquisitions recently. This is their asset acquisition list. Recently they bought a Payday, which is I think a Japanese payment service, for $3 billion. That's quite a bit. And in 2021 they also bought Honey, which is kind of like coupon automatic. It's like a add-on you put on your browser, and it gives you coupons and discounts anywhere you shop. So it's like a savings app on your browser. So anyway, apparently that's worth $4 billion. The biggest one thing I saw on the list here is that they acquired Venmo for $26.2 million. That is probably the best like acquisition in history right there. Venmo is probably worth billions right now if it was a standalone app. So that's kind of crazy, but good for them. All right, back to the company here. Now, the valuation, yes, okay, it dropped to 2017. We're going to go into financials next. Now, I like to go by quarterly, but we're just going to quickly see the annual. And this is the operating income. We're going to go quarterly because it gives us a better picture of like what's going on with more recent data, more broken down. So it looks like the revenue is holding steady, even through the 2020s of the world. Didn't really budge, didn't really get a boost, nothing. It's like it almost seems made up. So operating income actually has been dropping a little bit. They had a bad quarter when it comes to operating income here. Gross profit. Let's go to shares outstanding. Looks like they've actually been buying back shares amazingly. So not much, but a few shares per quarter here. So earnings per share has been dropping quite a bit in the last year, but it's I think it'll rebound. It's nothing that would actually put them in a coffin. Profit margin has been shrinking. That's also really bad. So they have some things that are declining. Let's go on under statistics, and we'll take another kind of a bigger picture look here. So the market cap of the company is 85 billion, and their enterprise value is 80 billion, which suggests about a $5 billion cash safe that they can employ. Well, net cash is 4.97 billion, and their working capital is actually 8.42 billion. So they have room to make a few more of those little acquisitions. This company grows by doing acquisitions, but also invents things from the inside. And I know that they're working kind of like on a super app right now, which I couldn't actually find a lot of detail on. So that would be interesting if and when it actually does come out. It'd be kind of cool. I use PayPal. I use Venmo. So I guess I'm old school. I don't know, millennial, not quite Gen Z. I don't know what the young kids use nowadays. Probably like transfer, Soul back and forth on their wallets. I actually like that PayPal actually fired their crypto initiatives teams, because there's so many. I like the reason I like that is because they actually there's so many people that are working on that stuff. They have no chance of competing with the Coinbases of the world. Like, I don't understand why they started that to begin with. They need to stick to their guns basically and focus on their business, because on their core business, because all these peripherals are just draining resources. And right now, they really need to compete, because competition is stepping up, and PayPal has been a little bit complacent. So I think they will. That's my opinion. But let's continue with the numbers here. I know I'm a little scattered all over the place, but their margins actually look really good compared to other businesses, like let's say Square, for example. Let me pull this out. Duplicate, and we're gonna go with Square. I think it's SQ. Yeah, Block is the name of the company. SQ is the symbol. But if you look at the statistic on Block, look at these margins. I mean, they have negative profit margin. Granted, the company is losing money. Let's take a look at their revenue. They are growing revenue extremely fast, though, year over year, or annually. But quarterly, it looks like it's been stalling. So apparently, the stall in PayPal is not that company specific. All right, back to PayPal. So what else did I want to look at here? Oh yeah, they don't pay a dividend. That's not important. Oh, free cash flow per share is 4.28. Free cash flow is about 5 billion. Now, based on these numbers, if this company wasn't growing much, I'd probably put it about like a 30, 40, 50 max $1 billion company. It's 80 right now, so one could argue that it's actually still overvalued, right? But I think it's got some potential, and so I actually bought a few leaps, a few $130 leaps that are expiring like on 2024. So we'll see if the company actually ever catches up with that price. I mean, it was extremely overvalued in 2021. Absolutely crazy overvalued, that's for sure. There's definitely a bubble there, but now it's dropped to prices that haven't been seen in 5 years. And I don't think its prospects were hurt that much. I mean, I know that they lost some payment deals with like eBay and whatnot, and I don't know what's going on with their Amazon deal, but they're still trying to find ways to grow. They're expanding into other nations, right? And they're also working on inside initiatives like the super apps and whatnot. So I've tried to look up some negative articles because I'm a little bit biased on the positive side, so I want to equal that out. And there's an article about 4 red flags that PayPal has. And one of the things they list, I remember when they did this, is they abandoned their 750 million user goal by 2025, which I actually think they're on track to meet. Like, it's actually possible. But I think the CEO realized that was the wrong goal. I think the right goal is for them to grow its revenue. It doesn't necessarily have to come from user growth, right? It can come in other ways, and they can still continue to grow their user base at a slower pace. But what really matters is like revenue and earnings, right? If you have one customer that pays you $10 billion a month, like, you're good. You're Gucci, right? You don't need any more customers. Well, of course you do, but you get the point. Like, they can have 1,000 customers. It just depends what they pay for it. But speaking of paying for things, I think that actually they need to actually, I think, reduce fees to compete, because they don't want to lose market share, right? So there are two contradicting opinions here, but I don't know. I guess the CEO currently wants to do the revenue, which I guess I support. So the second one that they list here are competitive threats, and this is real, right? Like Square's growing revenue quite a bit, and Zelle is taking a little bit of the share of payments in between people. And Zelle is a company sponsored by Wells Fargo. I've used Zelle a few times, and it's not bad. It's really fast. It's instantaneous. It's kind of like Venmo. It's free, and it's very secure, right? Because it's developed by the big banks. Well, that's not necessarily correlated, but you know what I mean. Like, if something happens, they're insured by 5 million institutions, and nothing's gonna happen to your money. So the competition has been stepping up, and I think that PayPal has been a little complacent. However, I do think that they'll reverse their ways, and they have started firing people, and I think that's actually good. I think they need to increase the efficiency of the company. Like when I looked at it, let me see how many employees they have here. So they have 30,900 employees. That's quite a bit, okay? Especially for a software company. That's a huge number for a $80 billion company. Very big, in my opinion here. And I think it's kind of dragging down on its numbers. Like, imagine how efficient this company would be. I think you can do the same thing with like 15,000 people. I think they need to really focus on internal like efficiencies and try to reduce that number. I don't know what the numbers per employee was, where that was, but I think it was over here. Financial efficiency. Okay, there we go. So revenue per employee, 835,000, not bad. Profits per employee, 115,000. I think that can be higher. Let's take a look at another company. Well, let's take a look at Square first, and then I want to look at Apple because I know Apple is good at this. So Square statistics, financial efficiency, revenue per employee, 1.94 million. So this is where they need to be at. Why is Square so much better at this, right? Obviously, Square is not profitable, so it has a minus $9,000 per employee, quote unquote efficiency. But let's take a look at a company like Apple, who has a ton of employees, right? I mean, you ever been to an Apple store? Okay, so financial efficiency, revenue per employee, 2.51 million, great. Profits per employee, 661,000. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's a well-run company right there. So you need something like that, especially since these guys sell hardware. Most of their revenue comes from hardware for Apple. For PayPal, it's all software. Like theoretically speaking, obviously that's not true, but theoretically speaking, one person can run the entire company, right? Exaggerating, but what I'm saying is that you don't need multiple people to like put together hardware and go around like distributing things. So all it is just customer service, smooth operations, code, legal stuff. Like they don't need to have 30,000 people on the payroll. So anyways, margins are looking good. What would I say here with this company? I mean, it's tough. Like, I understand that other people are cannibalizing the business, but I just can't ignore this thing right here, okay? They still manage to grow revenue. They're trying to reinvent themselves. They're competing again. And, they're a money-making company. Like, they actually have earnings, right? So they have $4 billion here in earnings 2021. And even if it's lower in 2022, the revenue is going to go higher and they will find a way to, monetize their growth. So I'm a bull on this company still. I think they'll do okay. I think they'll do okay once they actually refine their focus. So it says forward PE of 18. I don't know about that. Next year they're probably still gonna struggle a little bit for the end of the year. Hope that their earnings start to rebound in the coming year in 2023, but we'll see. This thing is below pandemic lows, by the way. In March 2020, they hit like $80. Now it's below that. This is a massive, massive drop in valuation. Definitely more in line with where the company should be. It's no longer in the stratosphere, but I wouldn't say it's completely cheap either. I don't think it's like extremely undervalued or anything like that. It probably has some more room to drop down to the $50 billion range if it's going to be considered like a value-ish company. If people still think that it's going to grow a lot, then I think market cap of 85 is actually pretty fair. All right, that's my opinion on PayPal. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. I like to do, just for fun, company reviews and overviews on the weekends. I also have a public account that I do like daily updates on now, Monday through Friday, on this channel here. All right, that's it for now. That's all I got. Peace out.